Rigvedic period has been known for its extreme contribution in terms of Vedic development, and the role of women has been very important. 30 female rishis have been important, and today we would be talking about 4 of them. Now the most important thing before we talk about any of these is attainment of Brahma Gyan, that is the complete knowledge that we say, and this attainment of knowledge could be done at any stage of life. Now each of the scholars attained this at different stages of life. Gargi attained it at the Brahmacharya stage, Maitreyi attained it at the Vanapastha stage, Chaudala attained it at the Grihastha stage or the life of family, and finally we had the Sulabh Yogini. She attained it at the stage of Sannyasini. Now those are the various explanations and the period of attainment of Brahma Gyan. If we talk about the story of the 4 great scholars that we have today, let's talk about those one by one. So the first one is Ghosh. Now Ghosh was the granddaughter of Drighambatams, and she was the daughter of Kakshivat. The most important story about Ghosh is she was a devout follower of Ashwins, Lord Ashwins. Ashwins were the twin lords, the 2 lords, the Lord of Health and the Lord of Healing. She wrote 28 verses, 14 verses in one set and 14 verses of hymns in another set in the 10th book, and this hymns were important. The first hymn focused on the devout dedication to Lord Ashwin, the Lord of Health and Healing, and the second hymn that was composed by Ghosh talked about her feelings and her wish to have a married life. Now, the story goes that she suffered from an incurable disease. It had not been clearly mentioned, but it was somewhere close to leprosy, and after her devout belief in Ashwins, she was completely healed, and after she was completely well, she had her wishes completed, and she was able to have a well-married life. The next scholar that we talk about is Lopamudra. The story of Lopamudra is extremely interesting. Lopamudra was the wife of Saint Agastya, but how the story runs is very interesting. Lopamudra was created by Saint Agastya and was given to the king of Vidarbha as a daughter. Now she was born and brought up with the king of Vidarbha, and there she was able to attain her complete education, and all her worldly pleasures she could actually enjoy. But at one stage, Saint Agastya wanted to marry Lopamudra. So Saint Agastya went to the king of Vidarbha asking for Lopamudra. It was well known that Saint Agastya lives a life of extreme poverty and celibacy. Still, despite of knowing everything, Lopamudra agreed to marry Saint Agastya. She went with Saint Agastya and was in a miserable condition. She was very much tired up of the austere practices that Saint Agastya followed, but slowly she was able to mold Saint Agastya, and they ultimately enjoyed both the spiritual aspects as well as the family life. Lopamudra then had a son who was known as Dirdhasyu. Dirdhasyu was one of the great poets of that time. The word Lopamudra, the word itself means one who is able to have, or one who is completely absorbed in oneself. So that is the meaning of the word Lopamudra, and she was extremely well versed in both the languages Sanskrit and Tamil during that time. The next great scholar is Maitreya. Maitreya was the wife of Yagnavalakya. Yagnavalakya was married to 2 females, Maitreya and Katyayini. Katyayini was an ordinary woman who believed in all the worldly pleasures. However, Maitreya was a Brahmavadini, or she believed in Hindu sculptures. Now, when Yagnavalakya wanted to actually distribute the wealth, she asked the 2 females about it. Katyayani was well ready with it, but Maitreyi said that if this wealth could give me immortality, I am ready for it. But Yagnavalakya answered that immortality could be attained through knowledge, and these kind of conversations have been part of the Upanishad, where Maitreyi and Yagnavalakya conversations have been very very important, and his idea of attainment of knowledge and attainment of immortality through knowledge have been important. The next scholar was Gargi. Now Gargi challenged Yagnavalakya, who was the husband of Maitreyi. Gargi was summoned to the court of King Janak, where Yagnavalakya saint was there. And when Gargi was brought, she asked an interesting question. Gargi asked that there is something which is above the sky and below the earth, and between the sky and the earth, it is where it is situated has to be answered, because this is the zone which is a symbol of present, past and future. And this was a question which most of the Vedic scholars during that time were not able to answer. Gargi was the daughter of Seg Vakshanu, and Vakshanu was an important saint during that time. So the role of Gargi and her idea of the origin of existence has been very very important. So in this topic we have discussed the 4 women whose role have been very very important in the Vedic period. For complete information on Vedic history and Indian philosophy, refer to the complete course which is given in the link below. Have a wonderful day ahead.